Here's the tragic truth about Sedale Threatt. He's 63 years old now. Once he was an NBA star who played alongside legends. Today he's known more for his failures as a father than his basketball skills. His story shows how talent on the court doesn't always mean success in life. The man nicknamed the Thief for stealing basketballs ended up stealing something much worse from his own children. Threatt's NBA journey started against all odds. He was picked 139th overall in the 1983 draft. That made him a sixth-round pick from West Virginia Tech. He was the last sixth-round pick to ever make it in the NBA. The draft got shorter after 1989. He was also the only player from his small college to reach the league, but Threatt proved he belonged. He played 951 games over 14 seasons. His career stats show he averaged 9.8 points and 3.8 assists per game. He was known for his defense. Threatt averaged 1.2 steals per game for his career. He finished with 1,138 total steals. His biggest break came in 1991. The Lakers traded for him just before Magic Johnson retired. Magic had to quit because of his HIV diagnosis. Suddenly, Threatt went from backup to starter. The pressure was enormous. He had to replace the greatest point guard ever. Threatt stepped up in a big way. He led the Lakers in assists, steals, and minutes played in his first 2 seasons. In 1992-93, he became only the second player in Lakers history to lead the team in scoring, assists, and steals. Magic Johnson was the first. Threatt averaged 15.1 points and 6.9 assists that season. The Lakers broadcasters gave him his famous nickname. Chick Hearn and Stu Lance called him the Thief. He earned it by stealing basketballs from opponents. His quick hands and anticipation made him dangerous on defense. Fans loved watching him strip the ball and start fast breaks. Threatt also had a unique place in basketball history. He was teammates with 3 legends at different times. He played with Julius Erving on the 76ers. He was with Michael Jordan on the Bulls, and he replaced Magic Johnson on the Lakers. No other player can claim that triple connection, but his off-court life was already showing problems. The Bulls reportedly traded him partly because of his influence on younger players. Scottie Pippen later said Threatt was the epitome of the gym rat. He worked hard in practice and stayed in great shape. But Pippen also admitted that Threatt had bad habits that rubbed off on teammates. Stories about Threatt's partying became common. During his Lakers years, he was often seen on the town and at the Forum Club. In Seattle, teammates said he would sometimes sleep off his night outs in Gary Payton's cars. He did this so he could be closer to practice the next day. These stories painted a picture of someone who loved the nightlife too much. The real problems started with his personal responsibilities. Threatt fathered at least 14 children with different women. He struggled to pay child support for most of them. This wasn't just one mistake. It became a pattern that lasted for years. The legal troubles began in 1989. The mother of one son took him to family court in Philadelphia. Her son was Sedale Threatt Jr., who later became a quarterback at Lehigh University. The payments were sporadic from the start. This set the tone for decades of problems. By 2000, the situation had gotten much worse. Federal charges were filed in March. Threatt owed more than $46,000 to just one son in Boston. A month later, he paid nearly $172,000 in back child support for 6 different children. This was part of a deal to stay out of jail before trial, but the payments weren't enough. In September 2000, Threatt pleaded guilty to willfully failing to pay child support. The word willfully was important legally. It meant he chose not to pay, not that he couldn't afford it. The court found that he had the money but refused to send it. The judge wasn't lenient. In December 2000, Threatt was sentenced to 6 months in prison. The prosecution had recommended 5 months of probation instead, but U.S. District Judge Mark Wolf rejected that deal. According to court officials, the judge felt very strongly that he needed to do jail time. The court also ordered him to comply with 5 other outstanding child support orders in different states. The impact on his children was devastating. Sedale Threatt Jr. gave a heartbreaking interview to the New York Times. He said, "I love my name and I love my father, but I don't like him." The son explained that his father had taught him one main lesson: how not to be a father. The younger Threatt described years of broken promises. His father initially promised to help financially when his mother got pregnant, but the support was always inconsistent. They tried repeatedly to connect with Threatt Sr. over the years. All their attempts were repeatedly rebuffed. There was a brief period when the son spent a couple weeks with his father in Arizona. This happened during his teenage years under a court order. But after that, they lost contact completely. Threatt Sr. had promised to help pay for his son's college tuition. The son was playing quarterback at Lehigh University, but that promise went unfulfilled too. When the New York Times wanted to interview Threatt Sr. for the article about his son, he declined to comment. His silence spoke volumes about his continued avoidance of these painful issues. After his NBA career ended, Threatt moved to Australia. He tried to stay involved in basketball through coaching. He founded Australian Basketball Development and ran camps for the And One brand. He even worked with another son, who was also named Sedale Threatt Jr. This son was a basketball player born in 1981 to a different mother, but reports suggest his problems continued overseas. Blog posts from 2005 described him as still partying like a 20-year-old man. Witnesses said he was drinking big time and attracting lots of female attention. The same reports claimed he had recently fathered another child in Melbourne. Some alleged he had misrepresented the total number of his children to new partners. One commenter claimed Threatt told a partner he had only 5 children, but the same person alleged he actually had 13 children worldwide at that time. Another report suggested he had affairs with other women, even after fathering a child in Melbourne. These stories paint a picture of someone who never learned from his mistakes. The irony of his nickname became painfully clear. The thief was supposed to celebrate his basketball skills, but his children saw him as someone who stole something much more valuable. He took away their right to have a reliable father. He stole their financial security and emotional support. The legal system recognized this too. When the judge sent him to prison, it was for willfully failing to pay. This wasn't about being unable to afford it. Threatt had earned millions during his NBA career. The court found that he chose not to meet his obligations. His ex-wife, Nicole Plotzker, later married music producer Dr. Director. She had 2 children with Dr. Director. These children are separate from the ones she had with Threatt. This shows how some people moved on and built stable families, while Threatt continued his destructive patterns. Threatt's story is a study in contradictions. He had the discipline to be called a gym rat by teammates. He worked hard enough to overcome being a 6th-round pick. He stepped up when the Lakers needed him most, but he couldn't apply that same dedication to being a father. His son's words sum it up best. The lesson Threatt taught was how not to be a father. That's a tragic legacy for someone who achieved so much in basketball. His athletic accomplishments will always be overshadowed by his personal failures. Today, Threatt is 63 years old. He's had decades to make things right with his children, but there's little evidence he's tried. His silence when asked about his son's story suggests he's still avoiding responsibility. The man who once stole basketballs for cheering crowds ended up stealing something much more precious from his own family. What do you think about athletes who succeed on the field but fail at home? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about sports figures whose legacies are more complicated than they first appear.